Welcome to the Alchemical Cabala. So, for the next 2 weeks, we're taking a small detour, but not really a detour. It's more of a deep dive into the underworld, and which is beautifully expressed in this expression of Tim Burton's version of Alice in Wonderland. Um, our teachers and students and participants in this course are writing small papers of their experience of the movie and what occurs to them through the lens of the tarot and the tree of life and the Kabbalah. So, with that, we're just going to share one at a time and then discuss what occurs to us in the movie. If you haven't seen this movie, and even if you have, I highly encourage you to watch this movie and to watch it with the tarot and the tree of life as your lens through which you're perceiving it. There's just a treasure trove of wisdom in this story and the way it's told here. So with that, I've asked three persons to please share their write-ups. And who would like to go first?
I will.
Okay, thank you. Victoria?
All right. Alice's father tells her she can wake from a dream by pinching herself. She keeps having the same dream over and over again. She spends her time thinking about impossible things like being able to fly. As she walks with her possible future mother-in-law, they walk through the maze full of white roses, white like purified desire in the start of the fool's journey, and like in Key 13 transition. The future mother-in-law wishes the roses to be red instead, red like passion, actions, unpurified desire, red like Mars in anger. Alice escapes the marriage proposal by excusing herself and chasing after the white rabbit, white like Keter. She falls down a hole, tumbling like falling asleep and dreaming. She finds herself awake in a dream. She falls through a, a ceiling, and then her hair looks like she must be hanging like the key 12. Soon enough, the twins, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, appear like Gemini or the lovers' key 6. There is a sword in the compendium showing her killing the Jabberwocky. She pinches herself to try to wake from the dream, but cannot. Alice stands up to the Jabberwocky by saying, "It is only a dream. Nothing can hurt me." The Mad Hatter, Cheshire Cat, etc., are waiting for the return of the White Queen to dispel the Red Queen. She is a better ruler. She has purified desires. A dragon comes breathing fire, causing chaos like Key 16, the tower. Things are burned up and destroyed. When talking to Bayard the dog, she says, "This is my dream. I will decide where it goes from here." As though she is lucid dreaming, she says she makes the path. Several times the Hatter refers to Alice as him, and that boy as though she is androgynous like the fool and Key 21. Alice was scratched by the Bandersnatch. It gets infected. She is in the Red Queen's dungeon later. The Vorpal sword is found there. She gives the eye back to the Bandersnatch. He licks her wound and heals it. A little like Key 18, the wolf is domesticated into a dog, or like Key 8, taming the lion with love. She gets the key to open the Vorpal sword case from the collar of the Bandersnatch, a little like the chains of the creature people in Key 15 being able to be removed by themselves. The, the White Queen aids her sister, the Red Queen preferred to study dominion over living things. Perhaps her bulbous head is an enlarged ego. Absalom, the blue caterpillar, and others throughout the movie suggest to Alice that she is not the right Alice, etc. It seems to be referring to knowing oneself and becoming who we desire to be of service. Toward the end of the movie, Absalom thinks she is almost Alice. The Cheshire Cat keeps wanting to see the Mad Hatter of Futter walking. It reminds me of Key 21 and the dance going on there. Ab- Absalom is hanging upside down in the cocoon, waiting for transformation like Key 12. And that's what I have.
Excellent. Thank you, Victoria. So I'll stop the share here. So, anything she said speak to anyone, stand out to you in the movie?
The the Balder Snatch and the return of it's Alice returning the eye, and just that the fact of, and I love that being pointed out, because the fact of her, it's her kindness and her mercy. So again, with that comparison to the strength key,
Yes.
where it is, it's not, and again, the strength key with the white and the red, it's like there's the, like I think of like the activity, the boulder snatch, but then just kind of that divinity and that kindness, that grace, that's being shared, which then tames the boulder snatch, because everyone is afraid of it, and it's only until there's kindness shown to it, which again, the in the story of once she shows that kindness, and not just with giving back the eye, but also being in that same, when she fell asleep and they both slept in the same space. And
Mm.
then when the Baldersnatch woke up, when they woke up and then licked her wound, and then she received the keys to open up everything. It's kind of like this whole, it's like through that grace and kindness and love and that, yes, exactly. Exactly that right there. The unity, mercy and strength. Mercy and strength, I'm sorry. Yeah. Uh, Yeah. So I'll just stop there. Yeah. Just with that, the
Perfect,
key
easy.
eight, and just that
Yes.
that unity of that same Earth and Stream thinking, what Hesed and Gibora, just that connection there
Yes.
being made,
Yes.
and then opening that key to the next thing. But yeah, no, it's really like I really like that part being pointed out. So a great essay, really good.
Thank you, Easy. Yeah, uh, you're spot on, as is Victoria. Um, it's that balance, right, between mercy and severity. We have to have both of them, right? But they have to be balanced. And that's where the strength comes from. That's real strength. And this isn't, I mean, on one level, we first intellectualize this, right? Like in Hode. But at another level, as we grow in and spiritually, we start to encounter these forces as very real, tangible currents of power and inner light and force. So yeah, perfect. Um, all right. Would anyone else like to share anything that occurred to them on Victoria's speech, or do you want to go to another one?
That was a fabulous write up, Victoria. Thank you.
Yeah, I liked it too. I really like the way you tied in the world key with the Futterwacken dance.
Yes,
You know, just that,
absolutely.
just the it was perfect, perfect as a symbol. Because throughout the movie they're getting you to anticipate it like it's going to be the culminating event, right? So
Yes,
yeah, it was
very nice.
really a good observation.
It was a great write up, Victoria. I really was like, wow.
Yeah, and I will send you guys when we're done with all of this, everyone's essays to put in your own folders if they're okay with that. And I think, you know, as you know, um, each of us sheds light on different like facets of a jewel, and they spark the lights within us, and like, oh yeah, and yes, and yes. But when you read it again, it really triggers it, having it in front of you. And they're not long, so they're really, really valuable. All right. Um, okay, look here. Roman, would you care to share your write-up?
Yes.
Okay, please do.
Okay. The title is Alice in Wonderland is like a soul's training. Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland takes Lewis Carroll's story and turns it into a sort of soul-changing adventure. It looks dark and weird, but it's actually a symbolic trip through the tree of life. Alice is like a soul trying to figure out who it really is. Alice isn't just the main person. She's a traveler who needs to discover who she is by going through tough situations and meeting strange people. It's kind of like the 22 major arcana in tarot, which match the paths of the tree of life. So the movie becomes a guide where everyone and everything has a hidden meaning. Number one, Malkuth, stuck in the normal world. The story starts in the regular world. Alice is now a teen at her party, her wedding party, surrounded by people who want her to fit in. This is like Malkuth, the tree of life's bottom level, which is all about the physical and visible world. Here, the soul is asleep. Alice isn't really connected to herself and feels trapped by boring social stuff. Her trip starts when she gets tired of the way things are and wants something more. This is like Key Zero, the Fool, a soul jumping without knowing what will happen, trusting a feeling it can't explain. It can't explain. Falling down the rabbit hole isn't random. It's like a training descent, breaking away from the ordinary. It's a call to the unknown. It's when the soul leaves what's safe and falls into itself. Number two, Yesod, the soul's mirror and the dream world. Wonderland is like Yesod, the base, a place of dreams and reflections. Here the soul faces its mind. Everything Alice sees is a symbol of her inside feelings. Alice doesn't remember being in Wonderland before. She isn't sure she's still the same Alice. Everyone wonders if she's the real one. This question is important. The soul needs to remember who it is. In Cabala, Yesod is where changes happen, but you can also get lost if you're not clear in your instructions. Alice's constant growing and shrinking shows she doesn't know who she is and hasn't found stability within. The Cheshire Cat is like a guide in this crazy place. He's the inner teacher who gives advice but doesn't force anything. He's also like intuition, understanding that can't be taught with words. Keys 4 and 9. Alice also meets part of herself. The Mad Hatter is like her hidden creativity. The hare is like doing things without thinking. The White Rabbit is a reminder of what she needs to do. She needs to bring all these parts together. Number 3, Netza and Hod, mixed up feelings and thoughts. Before understanding, Alice goes through Netza, emotions, and Hod, intellect. Here, the soul struggles between feelings and thoughts. Netza shows up the character's crazy emotions, like the Hatter, whose madness is just a mind free from rules. In Hod, Alice has to understand messages and prophecies, facing tricky language. These places are between Yesod and Tiferet, showing the struggle of trying to balance emotions and thoughts. Number 4, Tiferet, finding your true self. Alice's big question is, who am I? She finds the answers in Tiferet, the tree's center, representing beauty and the higher self. It's the tree's heart, where the soul connects with its real identity. When Alice gets the Vorpal sword, wheel, and agrees to fight the Jabberwocky, she has a realization. She's no longer confused. She's a woman who knows her strength. The word, the sword, is like the spiritual understanding. Here she becomes strong, controlling her fears. Alice is ready to protect her inner peace. Number 5, Gebura and Hesed. Balance. Wonderland's two queens are like Gebura, strict justice, the Red Queen, and Hesed, mercy, the White Queen. Both are extreme. Irasubeth rules with fear. Mirana is too passive. Alice doesn't agree with either of them. She realizes that these polarities are part of the path, but must be overcome. This shows the importance of balance. A mature soul when knows when to fight and when to be kind. Balancing helps prepare for higher levels. Number 6, Bina, Chokmah, and Keter, the return. The final fight against the Jabberwocky, K-15, the Deceiver, is the last training trial. The Jabberwocky is our bad ego that stops the soul from moving up. Killing it means getting rid of that guardian. Alice fights not for glory, but because she knows her destiny. Her win means she has reached the tree's higher levels. Alice understands the game very clearly when she reaches Bina. Alice shows wisdom when she stops acting from doubt and trusts herself when she reaches Hokmah. Alice realizes Keter when she finishes her trip and decides to return to the world with a new purpose. Alice's choice to return shows that she has seen the light and wants to share it. She is no longer the Alice who fell accidentally. She's in control of herself and ready to design her life. This returns relates to the world key, completion and awakening. Alice in Wonderland is a soul-changing story about the soul's training, falling into a world of reflections, inner battles, awakening, and rising to unity. From the Tree of Life and Tarot, the story is like a map of the inner process. Alice, like any real seeker, must forget, die, fight, and remember who she is. And in that memory, she finds not only her name, but also her strength, purpose, and truth. Thank you.
That's awesome, Roman. Thank you. Very nice. Um, so I love what you said at the end where she finds her name. And that's the part in the movie where she finally remembers like fully and owns who she is, right? And Absalom's like, Alice at last, right? And if you look up the meaning of the name Alice, it means nobility, to be noble. And the soul's nobility is what is being referenced here. The truth of one's true self, which is true nobility. Anyway, thank you. That was amazing. I could go on, but anyone else please share what spoke to them in Romans paper.
I'll just say I really love the connections you were making with not just with the cards, but with the sphere, the different Sephiroth. You're saying, oh, when it gets to Yesod, it's like this. it's like that's Wonderland, and then just the different areas and how you're taking it with Tifrith and the beauty and kind of just that Christ Center type of discovery and moving up to Venus. So yeah, that really appreciated the clarity in that journey. So yeah, it was great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Me-
thank you.
These are sensational. They're really helping. I appreciate your guys with the work you've done. Thank you.
Yeah, the idea of remembering, which was running throughout the story, to remember yourself. And she had been there before because they showed pictures in the movie with her as a little girl. And now it all came back, the putting that together. So very much tied in with the tree of life. How we must remember, how the soul has to remember, and what it takes to trigger those memories. Her falling in the in the tree, having this
Yes.
major crisis, and running away from someone who wanted to marry her, and an established sort of end game, and she just stood her ground, but she, like Roman said, the fool stepped off on, this isn't right, there's got to be more, but I don't know what it is. And
Yeah.
that was great. So that expressed that very well, Roman. That was a great observation.
Yeah, I will say there was just, I mean, two quick phrase because the way you phrase some things was really nice with regards to, I mean, one I actually jotted it down. One of them being the Mad Hatter being mind free from rules. It's kind of I like that phrasing, but also just the a woman who knows her strength, and just with regards to that, like that scene with Absalom, because one of the things, that's actually something I've jotted down with other notes over here, but with regards to like that scene of just like that final remembrance, like she everything with regards to that, she's like, oh, I need to pinch myself and wake up, it's a dream, but then it's like kind of stuff we talked before, like am I dreaming or am I awake, and this whole thing. But one thing that really struck me about that latter scene in Act Three, or I'll just do three-act play, if you will, when she's meeting with Absalom, and in that moment where it's like, yeah, it's like now you're mostly, because the whole thing about like, you've lost your muchness, right? But earlier on, but now it's like, now there's the Alice, now there's the one there. But that whole dialogue, that whole thing is happening when he's at the final stage. I'm assuming it's a him, right? For Absalom at the final stage when he's in the chrysalis, right? He's hanging there, and it's like as that last bit of chrysalis there. And I looked at it almost as like that 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 last few moments when she's having that dialogue with Absalom, and it's all of those, the memories are there. It's just that it's like the acceptance of like, oh yeah, this really is real, right? And it's all really happening. It's all really coming. And just she had to go through that whole journey, and just something about the Absalom being the chrysalis, where it's like it was almost like that final little bit of, for lack of a better word, permission, of just that acknowledgement of like the transformation is an inevitability. It's as if it's there's nothing to be afraid of and all that. And in just that little bit, when it all came to her and she was like, I am Alice, and when she declared it, that was really, it was a really powerful moment, right? When it all came. And then when she, and again, the fact that within the setting of a gazebo, or a gazebo-like type of thing, when she had that dialogue, talked back from it, and then she emerged from that, I would say whole yet unproven, right? I mean, it's like she had all the thing, and then that's when she donned the armor and said, I take up the mantle to fight and all that. And it was really cool. But yeah, no, really appreciate your the way some of those points or phrases really hit home. So yeah, really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you. And one point that I realized while watching the movie is that it is a sequel from the animated movie. So if we watch the animated movie, then this is the second part, years later. So she doesn't remember. She always said it was a dream, but what if it wasn't? What if it was another reality in another time, in an earlier time? But because she doesn't say, I'm knowing this. She says, I'm not remembering this. And the whole remember um theme is present throughout all the movie. And in some lessons we have read that we didn't came here to learn but to remember, and that's the main aspect of this movie. So it's very interesting to watch the animated movie and then this one and then the other one, Through the Looking Glass, which is also mind-blowing. The last scenes are whoa, about time and what is our perception of time.
Ties
It's
it all together.
wonderful.
Yeah. The phrase "remember who you are" keeps. That was one of the things I kept jotting down. Was like, remember who you are. Remember who you are. It's just it's remembering all that. But yeah, man, totally.
Very nice. Thank you.
You have to understand that in order to remember, look what she went through. So when you guys have things like that's that great comment, sacred chaos, because it's all just to remember. You're returning home. You're not attaining. You're not going somewhere. You're coming into into you. And since we're all different, so there she is on the ship heading off, and then the butterfly is on her shoulder, and he's there, and going off, and you find that we can relate to that because we have adventures that take us only to ourself. And that's what they're all about, just to ourselves.
And in Spanish, remember is recordar, which comes from re cordis, like go back to your heart.
Oh, lovely.
Oh,
yes.
Nice.
Very
Thank
nice.
you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, everyone. We have one more teacher, student going to share. Susan, will you please share your initial writing on the Alice in Wonderland?
Yes.
Thanks.
Alice is confronted with a difficult question. Instead of answering, she lives the answer. Alice goes on a fool's journey, entering the hole at the base of a tree and falling off a cliff into the underworld. I am reminded of this. It's a quote from the Holy Order of Man's website. I strive, O Father, creator of all, to be a nameless wanderer, to be perfect and all-sufficient, so poised, so balanced, that none but self can comprehend. All the best people are dreamers. Forgetting, becoming the nameless wanderer, is the first step to remembering. Alice has been in Underland before, but cannot remember it. She must go on a journey of remembering. Alice is led to the tree of life by the white hare, who reminds her that it is time to answer the call. She falls upwards and inwards. At first she is upside down, but then she falls again, finding herself upright and facing a door which seems impossible to enter. Impossible things become possible with the power of suggestion. In the beginning, she is not the real Alice. The story is a story of becoming, of unfolding, and of remembering the true self. Note the white roses in the garden near the tree, a symbol of the fool and of the pure self. The white roses mark the beginning of the path. Alice is led to the wise blue caterpillar, Absalom, who is revealed inside a cloud of smoke. He asks, "Who are you?" The creatures unroll the oraculum scroll that shows both past and future in Underland, revealing the goal at the end of the path. Absalom, pronounces that she is not hardly Alice and is unsure she can accomplish the impossible task of defeating the Jabberwocky. In the beginning of the film, we see a full moon in the sky and later a crescent moon, reminiscent of the High Priestess. And now we find a scroll very like the one the High Priestess holds on her lap. She remembers Alice, both past and future. Alice wakes up in her dream at this point, knowing now that she is dreaming. She pinches herself, but it is of no use. She is the lucid dreamer. We are then reminded of the Moon Key, where an adventure takes place between two castles or towers, one belonging to the Red Queen and the other to the White Queen. Alice and friends are attacked by the servants of the Red Queen. The Bandersnatch, who is very much like a wolf, chases Alice in what seems a typical scene in a dream. Alice runs from him, but remembers again that she is in a dream. In dreams, it is best to face your fears, and so she does. Alice is clawed by the beast. A mouse comes to her rescue, stealing away one eye from the beast, creating a distraction so that they can escape. Most of Alice's friends are captured. The Red Queen has a giant head, perhaps symbolic of the intellect taking control. The Queen is also red and seems to symbolize that justice and mercy are out of balance, leaning to the side of the red, to tyranny. The intellect cannot rule without turning to cruelty, as seen in the behavior of the Red Queen. She declares, "Off with his head," to anyone who doesn't conform to her every demand. All the heads she demands be cut are floating in the moat. Even the king's head is down there, reminding us of the death key, where a man's head is being planted like a seed in the fertile soil. The queen sends a bloodhound to find Alice. The bloodhound is similar to the dog on the Moon Key. Both dog and wolf, in the beginning, are seemingly enemies of the good. They are in bondage to the Red Queen, but later will break free of bondage to help bring Alice to victory. The blue Cheshire cat helps Alice, appearing out of a cloud of smoke like Absalom. These blue creatures seem to represent the opposite of the Red Queen, bringing much needed mercy. The clouds remind me of the clouds that obscure the angels, as well as the four animals in the corners of the Will and the World Key. We see the moon above, now a crescent, transforming into the face of the smiling cat. The Cheshire cat always seems to have faith that all will work out for the good in the end. He knows with a pure conviction. The cat's faithful intelligence and confidence remind me of the Justice Key. The Mad Hatter is the first to see the real Alice, though the hare and mouse still declare that she is the wrong Alice. This feels like the deceiver declaring that all you see is all there is. Alice cannot imagine that she might be the hero. The deceiver prefers it this way. We must be tested in order to learn the lessons that bring wisdom. Time is funny in dreams, Alice notices. Dreams are outside of time. The Mad Hatter tells Alice the story of when the White Queen was overthrown by the Red Queen and the Jabberwocky. The Mad Hatter declares that he will dance when the White Queen once again wears the crown. For now, he is mad. Alice finally declares that this is her dream and that she makes the path. She decides to face the Red Queen and heads to the Red Queen's castle instead of the White, as she had been directed by the Mad Hatter. This seems to be another level of lucid dreaming, this declaration of, "This is my dream." When she arrives at the Red Queen's castle, we notice all the slaves of the Red Queen wear the symbol of a red heart, the red of desire, like the red rose, the red that Alice's possible future mother-in-law wishes had been planted in her garden instead of the white roses. The Mad Hatter fools the Red Queen with his nonsense, which reminds me that the intellect can only go so far. The intellect must be distracted so that the power of suggestion can work its magic, and it does. The tide turns at this point. The Bloodhound now serves the good, as does the Bandersnatch. After Alice shows him kindness by giving the Bandersnatch back his eye, the beast gives Alice the key to the treasure chest, which holds the Vorpal sword and also heals the wound in Alice's arm, just in time, as she has grown weak. The dog and Bandersnatch, or wolf, become pathfinders, seemingly helping Alice along the path between the two towers of the Moon Key. Alice's identity is revealed. She escapes with help to find the White Queen. We discover that the White and Red Queens are sisters. The White Queen declares that when the champion defeats the Jabberwocky, the people will rise up against the Red Queen. Alice does not accept her role as champion. Absalom visits Alice, tells her that she is almost Alice now. He disappears in a cloud of smoke. The Cheshire Cat rescues the Mad Hatter from the chopping block. The cat knows that Alice will have victory over the Jabberwocky. He seems to be the master of the power of suggestion, and his knowing turns the tide once again. Might he be the lion in the strength key, the beast who serves the good because he is loved well? The masks people wear near the Red Queen fall away, like the chains of bondage being removed. If this were a dream, the people might represent different parts of Alice, now freed, releasing energy like the yods emanating from the tower key. The Red Queen says that it is far better to be feared than loved. She refuses peace. This reminds me of the sphere of volition and severity when not balanced with mercy. The Mad Hatter hints that the dream is real, not just a figment of Alice's imagination. Alice waits to wake up from the dream, still refusing to accept her role as champion. The White Queen tells Alice that the choice must be hers. Alice meets Absalom again, who is transforming, weaving his cocoon, and can't help Alice. He reminds her that she has been there before when she was younger, 13 years ago. This helps Alice know that the dream is real, has always been real, perhaps more real than the real world, and she chooses the role of champion. Absalom disappears into his weaving, hanging there like the suspended man. The opposing armies meet on the battlefield, red versus white and blue. Alice says, "This is impossible." The Hatter replies, "Only if you believe it is." Alice remembers, "Sometimes I believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast." The battle begins. Alice faces the Jabberwocky, a great black dragon with red eyes. Who also has red eyes? The deceiver. Deception cannot stand when faced with the sword of truth. Justice and balance will win in the end when supported by the power of belief, of faith, symbolized by the sword of justice. Alice counts the 6 impossible things. Potion that makes you shrink, cake that makes you grow, animals can talk, cats can disappear. There is a place called Wonderland. I can slay the Jabberwocky. The power of suggestion wins the day. We can do many impossible things if we follow the message of the strength key. We are limited only by our power of imagination. Alice and the Jabberwocky climb a tower. At the top, Alice cuts off the head of the Jabberwocky, which falls down from the tower, reminding us of the crown that falls from the tower key when hit by the lightning, which is an aspect of the sword. The people drop their weapons, many just in time before they are forced to kill in self-defense. They look as if a cloud of confusion has been lifted. Balance is restored, and all now refuse to obey the Red Queen. The Mad Hatter dances. I think of the world dancer, dancing in the victory wreath. The White Queen gathers purple blood from the Jabberwocky, the color of attainment. The journey has ended. Alice chooses to return home now that she has lived out her answer, knowing what she has to do. Her new ship is named Wonder. Absalom now has wings and flies on ahead of Wonder. That's it.
Thank you, Susan. That's excellent. Anyone have anything to share?
That's amazing. That was really delightful. It's like taking the journey again. Yeah. Very well written.
Yes.
Yeah, really
I
well done. Yep.
I love the relation you made between Absalom in the Chrysalis with G12. I wasn't aware of that, and it made me think about understanding the power of inversion because when he was inverted, me, it's the word. He
Yeah.
was inverted. She realizes who she really was.
Mm-hmm.
So in our lives, sometimes we need that inversion to understand, because the main question of existence is who we are. Who am I? And then what do I want? What I want. And at regular moments we don't find the answers. But turning down the situations, we say, oh, that's what I do. That's who I am, or that's what I want. So it was very important. And thank you so much for that light.
Thank you.
So thank you everyone that shared, and thank you everyone that have been participating and shared your thoughts on this. We're pretty much at our time, but there is just a few slides I'd like to share with you just for your contemplation. Um, from the shell. I'm not going to give a big long speech on this, but we're just going to discuss it a few points. And again, everyone's papers so far are absolutely amazing. And when you finish writing your papers, follow your own inner rabbit. Okay, so follow that. It we make connections from other people's experiences, which are valid because they wouldn't be if they didn't speak to us. But that being said, never be afraid to follow your own path of what you're being led by. If it speaks to you, trust it. Follow that. Okay. So here's just a couple of points I'd like to share with you about the movie. I love how at the very beginning she is at a dance, right? They're all dancing, and she's discussing how, she's dreaming, and she's got her potential, what the world has decided the person that she should be with, and she's musing to him, and she's laughing. She's like, I just imagined the men in dresses and the women in trousers, and you see this like polarity cross, right? And so we think of the world dancer key at the very beginning, and in Kabbalah, the Western tradition, the world key is the key that initiates us into the tree of life. It is the key that leads from Malkut to Yesod, right? Which is the underworld, which is Underland. And I've got it here somewhere. Where did it go? So you know this is where it's at, right? Right here. We're hearing she's dancing, and this key connects us into the moon sphere of Yesod. Now, as she's being proposed to, and she's obviously hearing her inner self say, hey, 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 and she's being distracted as she follows the rabbit. Well, he leads her. Where does he lead her to? Anyway,
The
initially,
king.
he leads her to the
Down a
base
rabbit
of the
hole.
tree. The base of the
Yeah.
tree.
Yes.
So we're at the base of the tree of life here. So I want you to look at the image of this tree. It's deep roots, but it's only so high, right? And she goes to, like Michael said, the rabbit hole, right? And she looks inward, she looks down, which is what the world key does for us when we focus our full attention and meditation on it. And as she keeps staring within and concentrating within, she reemerges, right, into the the underworld, the Underland, which is Yesod on the tree, which was mentioned earlier. Now, notice this. When she re-emerges with her self-consciousness into Yesod and makes it through that door, look at the tree now. What do you notice? So here's the
Flower.
tree. Yeah?
It has flowers. Like Mako, the flower of the tree.
Okay. And look at the height of the tree here.
It's longer.
Yes, it's grown, hasn't it?
Oh.
You
So
see? It's
it went
grown.
from Malkuth to Yesod.
Yes, and not only has it grown, it's kind of bowing towards her. So that's just something for your contemplation. As she descends into Underland here in the steps, she
Yeah.
is ascending on the tree or within the tree of life, because we remember to go within is to go upwards. So, all right. So that's enough of that. Thank you,
So are you
everyone.
saying to ascend, you must descend?
Yes. As above, so below. Right?
When
The
when you
deeper,
go in, yeah, when you go within, you go up.
that's right. Up is within. Right? That's it.